Hello, welcome to the Security Update with me, Hamse Daabjeerin. In this program, we will be covering for you the latest stories that matter security in the African countries, from West to Horn of Africa. Ahead on the program, UN extends its army's embargo on Somalia for a year. Ugandan soldiers sentenced to death for murder of civilians in Somalia. Ethiopia rights body accused TPLF for killing civilians. Ugandan plastics. Islamic State group claiming the responsibility. Welcome to our program. A military tribunal sitting in Mogadishu sentenced a Ugandan soldier to death and another one to 39 years in jail for the murder of civilians in Lower Shabelle region. A Ugandan soldier has been sentenced to death, another 39 years for the murder of civilians in Somalia. The Ugandan courts martial found the two officers guilty of killing civilians in Gobwain in Somalia's Lower Shabelle region in September. Local farmers in the region had accused AMISOM of killing their relatives, and later on, the African Union mission in Somalia admitted killing civilians during a military operation against Al-Shabaab's fighters. The proceedings had been running from October 5th at the Halane base camp where the UN and AMISOM headquarters in Somalia are based. 7 witnesses had testified against 6 suspected Ugandan soldiers. The Ugandan Martial Court has in the past tried the soldiers who are serving under AMISOM in Somalia. Ugandan soldiers are based in the capital Mogadishu and the Lower Shabelle region of Somalia. Families of victims who died at the hands of troops of the African Union mission in Somalia have welcomed the sentences of 5 Ugandan soldiers who were convicted of taking part in the murder of Somali civilians. Families of the victims who died at the hands of AMISOM troops have backed the sentence of 5 Ugandan soldiers. The soldiers were among 2 Ugandan soldiers sentenced to death. They said they are delighted to get justice for their family members. They also added that the ruling is paving the way for the prosecution of dozens of AMISOM soldiers involved in the murder of unarmed Somali people. On Friday, Ugandan court-martial sentenced 2 Ugandan soldiers to death for killing 7 farmers in the Lower Shabelle region. The court also handed 3 other soldiers 39 years in prison each. The case has been dragging since October at the UN and AU headquarters in Mogadishu. Some of the relatives told the media there were no lawyers to represent them, but they are happy about the judgment of the court. AMISOM previously admitted that its soldiers killed farmers during an operation against Al-Shabaab fighters on the outskirts of Golwayn. The Ugandan Martial Court has in the past tried its soldiers who are serving under AMISOM in Somalia. Ugandan soldiers are based in the capital Mogadishu and the Lower Shabelle region. Tigraynian rebels have killed more than 150 civilians in the Amhara region on suspicion of being informants or offering aid to the federal forces, the government-affiliated Ethiopian Human Rights Commission said in a report. The investigation published on Saturday, which draws on 128 interviews, focuses on parts of Amhara which saw heavy fighting in July and August between fighters from the Tigray People's Liberation Front and Ethiopian soldiers as the country's brutal conflict enters its second year. The report said at least 184 civilians died as a result of the bloodshed. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission said accusing TPLF fighters of willfully killing scores of civilians in towns and rural areas they captured. Civilians were shot and killed for supporting the federal government or for sheltering wounded soldiers, according to the Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia. The commission said that violations and abuses committed by all parties in South Gondar and North Wollo zones of the Amhara region underscores the need to put an urgent stop to the continuous suffering caused to civilians. The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for Tuesday clashes in Ugandan capital Kampala, saying they were carried out. The group is suicide bombers. This is the first time the group will be taking responsibility for a suicide attack in the country.
The Islamic State group, IS, has claimed responsibility for the Tuesday blast in the Ugandan capital, Kampala, saying they were carried out by the group's suicide bombers. This is the first time the group will be taking responsibility for a suicide attack in the country. It made its latest claim in the name of its Islamic State in Central African Province, ISCAP, on the messaging app Telegram. The group said the first attacker detonated a bag of explosives he was carrying near a checkpoint at a police station. The Islamic State added that a second cell made up of 2 attackers on motorbikes detonated similar explosive bags targeting guards at the Parliament building.
They clearly revealed how a male adult, putting on a black jacket and carrying a backpack, detonated the bomb that he was carrying, killing himself instantly. The spillover effect from the bomb covered a radius of about 30 meters, that is from near the checkpoint up to the front desk office at the Central Police Station.
Very unfortunate to see. I've lost one of my friends called Katongole, a police officer, and the rest, the police will come and give more information about that, but it's very unfortunate. It's happening at such a time that we're trying to go back to our normal livelihoods. So if these people can come at such a premises of police and set off a bomb, then you know things are not good.
ISCAP is mostly active in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but also operates in Mozambique, where it claimed waves of attacks last week. In October 2020, the group claimed 2 attacks in Tanzania, but no more since then.
The World Health Organization's chief, Tedros Adhanom, said his people in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray are dying because of systematic blockade to deny them of supplies. But we will be back after the short break. Welcome back again. The World Health Organization's chief Tedros said his people in the Ethiopian northern Tigray region are dying because of systematic blockade to deny them of supplies.
The World Health Organization's chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said his people in the Ethiopian northern region of Tigray are dying because of systematic blockade to deny them of supplies. The WHO boss also warned that people were starving to death and dying from lack of access to medicine. Tedros did not say who he thought was stopping aid getting through to Tigray, where rebellious forces have been fighting a year-long war with Ethiopia's government. However, the Ethiopia's government has denied blocking aid to Tigray and has said it is rebuilding infrastructure. Soon after the conflict erupted, the Ethiopian Army's chief of staff accused Tedros of backing the Tigray rebels. The WHO Director General, who was Ethiopia's health minister when the TPLF dominated national politics, denied the accusation while saying that he is not taking sides in the war. The war in Ethiopia broke out in November 2020 between the federal troops and forces loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, the ruling party of Tigray. Many people have been killed in the conflict, while millions of others have been displaced.
The U.S. training done-up forces in a joint operation with Jubaland forces destroyed Al-Shabaab bases in operation in the lower Chuba region. The operation took place in Labikus, Qudus, Yaq, Dabaile, and Darkele areas. According to a state-owned broadcast, the forces destroyed bases where Al-Shabaab fighters were hiding money laundering facilities and a court. The military official said heavy casualties were inflicted on Al-Shabaab militants. The purpose of the operation was to completely eradicate the militant group from the areas in Lower Chuba region, according to the officials. The Al-Qaeda-allied Al-Shabaab group has lost many areas previously under its control, but the militant group is still capable of staging attacks in Somalia. The latest operation comes as government forces have intensified operations against Al-Shabaab in the central and southern regions. For the past few days, Somali National Army has been undergoing military operations against Al-Shabaab in several places in the southern part of the country and pledged to intensify war on Al-Shabaab. The United Nations has decided to extend the arms embargo on Somalia for the extension of 1 year. In extending sanctions, the Council said Somalia's state rebuilding had been hijacked by Al-Shabaab, including infiltration in local institutions. UN Security Council members have voted on a proposal to extend the arms embargo on Somalia for another year amid the African nation stepping up operations against Al-Shabaab fighters. Resolution 2607 of this year extended sanctions regime 751 on Somalia, which has been in place for nearly 30 years and has been amended by subsequent resolutions. The Council kept in place the arms embargo on the sale or resale of weapons and military equipment to Somali forces, a ban on the sale or shipment to Somalia of components used to manufacture improvised explosive devices that Al-Shabaab is increasingly using, and a ban on the export of charcoal. One is a key money earner for the country. Russia and China abstaining from voting. The Security Council imposed an arms embargo and other tough sanctions on Eritrea in 2009 for supplying weapons to Al-Shabaab for refusing to resolve a border dispute with Djibouti. The Turkish government has extended a donation of military vehicles to the Somali National Army aiming to improve and prevent security threats in the country. Somali government officials thank Turkey for their support and being allies with them. The Somali National Army received military vehicles including trucks and ambulances donated by Turkey on Tuesday as part of Ankara's support for the nation's military. Senior military officials received the donation after a ceremony at the Turkish embassy in the capital of Mogadishu. Officials from Turkey's military mission Turkism also attended the ceremony and announced that Ankara will continue to support the Somali National Army, the government and people of Somalia. Somali National Army Chief General Oduwa Yusuf Rage told the media that Turkish military support is key in fighting Somali-based Al-Qaeda-affiliated group Al-Shabaab. Somalia's elite military unit, Gorgor Commandos, will use the vehicles and the ambulances. Turkey has been providing training and military assistance to Somalia's military to help build that nation's military capacity. Turkey is the first country to train Somali female police commandos after the first batch of officers arrived in Mogadishu in September. They joined the Special Forces Unit Harimaat after they underwent special training in Turkey. And with that story of the Turkish government extended a donation of military vehicles to the Somali National Army aiming to improve and prevent security threats in the country, we'll wrap up our program for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. This is me, Hamse Daabjeerin.